This Popeyes chicken sandwich dupe with 13 million views put Joshua Weissman on the map. And he built his empire on that But Better series. But I'm here to find out if it actually is. Shall we? Does he even say that anymore in his videos? So first off, he starts by making Japanese milk bread burger buns from scratch. Yeah, I don't have the skills to do that. I've tried, it burned. So I found meat. That takes care of that. So now we move on to the fried chicken. In a bowl, he starts by adding his buttermilk, then some salt, garlic powder, and then he's super extra and made his own serrano pepper powder to make it super spicy. And I don't even know how you do that. So I'm using cayenne and chili powder. He mixes it up and then he adds his chicken. This was when he was super duper detailed with every single step. And he says to find the biggest chicken thighs that you could find, except big chicken thighs scare me. So we're gonna go with really good quality ones. And now he says to cover it with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge to marinate for at least an hour to overnight. I want the chicken sandwich to be really good, so while we wait for it to marinate, let's move on to the next foodie king. Now we have Nick DiGiovanni. Nick and his knife cook like he's training for the Culinary Olympics, but his most viewed video with 34 million views is cooking for a sumo wrestler. And he makes him like a multi-course meal, but I'm gonna choose the two most interesting ones, which is the Chunko Nab and his seared Japanese Wagyu. But Chunko Nab is literally a sumo wrestler's hot pot or stew. There's veggies, there's protein, there's lots of stuff in there. So I'm gonna be using Napa cabbage, bok choy, and then he makes pretty cuts out of his carrots and mushrooms. And now for the most viewed part of the video, Nick serves Yama this A5 Japanese Wagyu, which is supposed to be like the highest grade of steak that you can buy. And the insane marbling that you see here is supposed to melt like butter. You don't even need to chew that much. Essentially baby food. And now I'm just gonna sear it on each side for a minute in my cast iron. And we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt for seasoning. I don't want to overcook this beauty because we're gonna finish it off later. Now we let it rest. And now to make the Chunko Nab, which is the sumo stew, we're gonna put everything in this pot. I have some water in here already, but we need to make the broth. So I'm gonna season it with some soy sauce, sake, miso, and a little bit of ginger. And because a sumo wrestler needs a lot of protein, we're gonna use a few different kinds. Chicken, tofu, and little fish cakes. The Chunko Nabes I see online always look so beautiful, so I'm gonna arrange the vegetables first in a very beautiful pattern and then lay in our protein, and then we'll let it all come to a boil. In the video, he talks about the significance of the chicken in this stew because a chicken apparently stands on two legs, and like a sumo wrestler, they want to keep their balance. Looks pretty good. But now I'm just gonna add two remaining ingredients. I like these things called crown daisy and some Japanese green onion. We're gonna move this over there while I work on the Wagyu. Well, since the person I'm feeding is not a sumo, I'm just gonna cut this piece off right here. Ooh, that looks so good. And we're gonna prepare it against the grain. Although I'm not really sure which way the grain is because it's very marbly. Then he sears his Wagyu with a blowtorch, and then he adds a little garnish, red onion, and radish shoots. And now I have all this food that I've made fit for a sumo wrestler. I don't have a sumo, but I do have cameraman. Oh, cameraman! This is a Chunko Nab that's fit for a sumo wrestler.
What are you trying to say?
You're almost there. And some A5 Japanese Wagyu.
Oh, hi.
Well, if you're gonna go fight, I would say that you have to stand on your two legs and have the chicken Chunko Nab first. Now try the Wagyu. It was $60.
$60? Melts in your mouth.
Does it really?
Try it.
It's not bad. I like it.
I think this sumo meal should get around 9 out of 10.
Maybe for a sumo wrestler, but for me, I think it's 8 out of 10. I guess I just don't have expensive taste. Today, we're testing Sish Smoothie. With the long form video, she got 40 million views for her daily routine, where she shows us how to make her breakfast smoothie. And for a 12-year-old at the time, it looks pretty good. But let's see if she's just pulling another trick on her dad. All right, so what's in Sish Smoothie? She starts off by adding some frozen blueberries, and then she adds 2 types of protein powder. I found out that she's vegetarian, so this gives her extra protein. She doesn't measure, she just scoops. Now to sweeten it up, a banana. And then she says to make her smoothie creamy and soft, she adds in silken tofu, just a couple scoops. I can confidently say I have never added tofu to my smoothie before. Now she adds in her coconut milk, but make sure you shake it really well. And finally, some almonds for a nice crunch. I'm not sure I want my smoothie crunchy or if I want tofu in it, but here goes nothing. listen. Her dad Jordan asked, how do you have so much energy? Because I'm not old. I hear the crunchy bits in there. I'm not a teenager like Salish, but I'm also not as old as her dad Jordan, but I feel personally attacked. And even her friend Nadal says, wow, Salish, you're high maintenance. So let's see if this smoothie is any good. The almond chunks are getting stuck inside my straw. Honestly, the tofu did make it super creamy and it doesn't taste half bad. And chunky, maybe this is where she was pranking her dad. But Say Smoothie gets 7 out of 10. And now with 81 million views, Doobie Doobop starts this video by asking, do you ever get so hungry before you sleep and start dreaming about chili oil noodles? No, but now I do. She starts by opening her secret stash of Shin ramen, and she says to cook it for only 3.5 minutes for perfectly al dente ramen. And life hack, while you wait for it to cook, eat the crumbs. It's like chips. Toss the vegetable packet, but save the soup base for later. I like to start separating my ramen, make sure it's cooked. I'm only down to 2 minutes now. We're at 1:30 and the noodles are not separating yet. It is a thick block of noodles. Time's up, let's drain it. And now she heats up 2 tablespoons of oil to pour over all the spices. While our noodles are cooling, now we're gonna build the bowl. She adds 2/3 of the spice packet in, and that's enough. Adds a little bit of black pepper, some black vinegar for a little bit of acid. Throws in some sesame seeds, and she minces some fresh garlic. She mixes her spices up with the hot chili oil, and it's looking pretty red and spicy. It smells so good. And now she dumps in her noodles and mixes it all together. And just like hers, this is not bad. Look at that color. I'm actually pretty impressed with how red and chili oil-ish it came out. But we're not done yet, because now we're gonna be chopping up some green onions. And while she has a cleaver with her face on it, best I got is the world's sharpest knife. I've never seen someone chop green onions so beautifully and so much for one bowl of ramen. I'll have green onions with a side of ramen. Now she fries an egg, and she says this isn't some gently cooked sunny side egg BS. And someone replied saying, thank you, when I want fried eggs, I want fried eggs. Oil splatters all over. And now we're finally done making our midnight snack. The only thing left to do is to break that yolk. Someone said my late night snack, a microwavable mac and cheese. Her late night snack, a delicious meal. Oh, that is so spicy. I was gonna say before the spice hit, I almost didn't even mind that there's so much green onions in there, but now I can't even feel my tongue. And the way that she films her videos on loop, she's still cooking her chili oil ramen to this day. 8 out of 10. And now with 230 million views, this video is iconic. It's the Disney princess frozen cake from Rosanna in her Nerdy Nummies series. All the comments were saying, words can't explain how many memories this video's brought back. Let it go. But now Rosanna and Molly walk us through the cake process. So first you need a 1-inch round cake and then a 2-inch round cake that they've leveled, and then they somehow baked it into a dome for the dress part. I found this like domey ball shaped cake pan at the store, but I have no idea how I'm gonna get this out. Oh, that was a disaster. I'm just gonna have to fill that in with frosting later. Well, at least we have one side that looks good. But now they basically take a cupcake core, or I have this apple core that they kind of just punch right in the middle. I feel like I should stack this so they go through each other. I'm going rogue. We're gonna hollow out the middle for her legs. Hopefully this is big enough, and if it's not, we'll figure it out later. I'll save this to make cake pops. Mini ones. Okay, now that we've cored the cake, I'm just gonna set them aside because we need to work on the frosting. I feel like for this cake, I have to make a lot of frosting, so I'm gonna use 3 sticks of butter. I'm gonna whip it while slowly adding in my powdered sugar, and then once it kind of comes together, I'm gonna add a splash of cream and vanilla to flavor it, and then we're gonna keep adding more powdered sugar and whipping it some more until it's nice and fluffy. Do you want to build a snowman? That was an arm workout, but I have my bowl of frosting and I hope this is enough. But now I have to separate a little bit for the decorations. Now we have to dye it. So for the cake, it looks like she goes for a lighter, like tealy blue that pretty much matches the dress right here. I don't know about color theory, but I'm thinking it's probably blue and a little bit of green. Yeah, I feel like it definitely needs a little bit of green to it. Maybe yellow? I'm gonna just put a bunch of blue. Actually, I'm gonna cheat. I'm just gonna borrow a little bit right here. And the rest will just make it darker. Ah, yeah. Okay, let's glue and frost it down. First layer, down. Now I'm just gonna frost in between the layers. Or smaller layer, down. Same thing, I'm just gonna frost it. This frozen blue is so pretty. I probably could have gone without the green and the yellow to make it like a little more blue, but now our top domi layer. Oh shoot. I need to cut and level this off. Please work. Okay, much better. Much better. Yay, but why do I feel like you're so much smaller? Okay, now I'm gonna have to fill in all the gaps with the frosting. She used a piping bag. Thought I could free flow this. I am not skilled enough. This is kind of fun. I might be able to do this. Okay, this thing helps me close the gap quite well. The question is, am I gonna have enough frosting? Now that I look at this is more of like a Tiffany's blue. She's expensive. Now let's smooth everything out. They came back with it looking just all so perfect already. I just don't know how they did it. I'm actually able to cover up all of the bald cake spots here pretty easily, so that's a win. Smooth out the rough edges. Gotta make it look perfect for the ice queen. Elsa, it's time to derobe you. Put your hands up. I don't know what to do about this. Should we just let it hang? Get your booty in there, girl. Oh my gosh, she's too dumb. Oh my gosh, all that work and it's not. At the time hers was filmed, Frozen was probably a big deal and a huge thing. This was the last doll at Target. I'm lucky I even found one because Elsa's not really a thing anymore. And how come the colors look exactly the same now? Now I'm just gonna try my best to save her. Oh. Hey, I mean, not the best looking dress. Not bad. Drop waist Cinderella vibes. Okay, Rosanna's had like snowflakes on hers. Now it's time for the big reveal where you can go into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown. And there's our Elsa. But I have to give Rosanna props for hers looking so perfect and like perfectly just like measured out. That was hard, but it was also kind of fun. For my princess building skills, I'm gonna give myself a solid 7 out of 10. And after all the work that I just put into this, no way I'm cutting into it. She got 230 million views, at least give me a million. It's the next day and I feel like this chicken has marinated long enough. So now we move on to the next step, which is the dredge. When he says, I recommend thigh over breast, somebody said, I see you're a man of culture. I would have gone for the legs. So in a shallow bowl now, he adds his flour, some salt, smoked paprika, garlic powder, something called oyster mushroom powder, but the best that I could find is this Trader Joe's mushroom umami seasoning blend, some freshly cracked black pepper, and if you want it spicy, which you probably should because it's a spicy Popeyes chicken sandwich, some more cayenne. So now we're ready to dredge, but he gives a little life hack saying if you want those crispy bits on your fried chicken, the best thing to do is just spoon in some of that marinade mixture into the flour itself, so once it clumps up, it sticks to your chicken. I'm just gonna mix it around until I see those clumps. It's getting kind of shaggy. He takes the chicken and then aggressively presses it into the flour, making sure it's thoroughly coated. Okay, so I do see some of our shaggy bits sticking to the chicken. Let me just make sure I get it really in there. I feel like this is a lot of flour. Okay, now to fry it, he just uses a cast iron and then fills it up with some oil. Lets it get to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, he says to place the chicken in gently away from you. And then you cook the chicken for about 6 to 8 minutes until it's nice and golden brown. I have to say, that's a pretty good looking piece of fried chicken, but we're not done yet. Now we're gonna make the fanciest secret sauce I've ever seen. He starts in a bowl by adding some mayo, and then he takes black garlic and purees it. I couldn't find any black garlic like his, but I did find some in a jar, so hopefully that's good enough. It smells garlicky. And then for the hot sauce, he uses something called a lacto-fermented habanero hot sauce. This is the best I've got. Maybe sriracha would work too. He hits it with a little bit of salt, smoked paprika, and a squeeze of lemon juice to brighten everything up, and then just mixes it. A very interesting burger sauce color. I am so tempted to just try a little bit of this right now. And now to prepare our sandwich, he spreads both sides of the toasted buns, please. And then he shickles on his pickles. Please no bald spots, he says. He has a lot of rules for this chicken sandwich. Pickles should be sliced lengthwise and not little circles. Then the piece de resistance, poulet. Mine's a little bit smaller than his, and Popeyes. Sometimes bigger isn't always better. Now place the top bun on top. And here's mine, or his, and here's Popeyes. Let's give Popeyes a try first, because I've actually never had this before. There's like a spicy mayo, the round pickles that he hates so badly because there's bald spots, big old piece of chicken, and then the bun. It's really dry. Joshua Weissman said it wasn't spicy to him, but this is like spicy to me. Also, I didn't get any pickle in that bite. Let's try Josh's version. First difference is the chicken is so much juicier, and I like that I got a little bit of pickle in there. I'm not really sure I taste any of that black garlic sauce that we added. It just tastes like mayo to me, but I also love that it's not super spicy because I made it my way. But overall, Overall, I think Josh's recipe was my favorite so far in this video. I give his Popeyes chicken sandwich a 9 out of 10. But let's see if the last two YouTubers can top this. And now with 260 million views, we have cracked grapes from our favorite chef on YouTube, Linja. May she rest in peace. She called these cracked grapes, but someone said alternative title, grapes on crack. But to me, it's more like crackled grapes. She starts by dumping her bag of Jolly Ranchers out, the hard candy kind. Okay, now I understand why she used like 5 bags to do this, because you don't get a ton of blue ones in any candy bag. But this is all we've got. Feels like an episode of Breaking Bad. Okay, hopefully that's enough, but now she nukes it in the microwave. It goes without saying, if you're heating sugar in the microwave, just be careful. So while that's cooking, she skewers her grapes. I'm using cotton candy grapes just to add some extra candy flavor. And then she also pours out some Pop Rocks into a bowl. That only took about a minute and it's so hot. But now she dips her grape into the hot boiling candy. The way that it just coats. Oh my gosh. Jolly Rancher tongue hulu. And then into the Pop Rocks. I gotta work fast before this cools. I already hear the Pop Rocks crack-a-lackin'. The Jolly Rancher cools down so fast. Kinda hard for me to dip it now. But now since I've been hearing it crack this whole time, will it actually pop rock in my mouth? There's so many things going on at once. I had to move the grapes to one side to finish chewing it, and then the Pop Rocks just kept popping, and then the Jolly Rancher just needs to be sucked on. Overall, I would say this was such a fun experience, except someone said, whenever I want some comfort and comedy, I always come to her. Somebody else said, the greatest chef in all of YouTube history, rest in peace, you will never be forgotten. We love you. 10 out of 10. And now it's no surprise that the biggest YouTuber of all time also has the most viewed YouTube recipe video. It's Mr. Beast with 460 million views. He makes this Japanese Sando with bayashi. They start by boiling a whole carton of eggs. Even Jimmy was surprised and asked, all of this? And apparently these were super expensive eggs in Japan too. Of course they would be. I'm not Mr. Beast. I can't spend $10,000 on eggs. I'm just gonna cook up 5. It's about 7 minutes into boiling the eggs. I'm gonna take 2 out, dunk them in an ice bath, and then we'll revisit them later. These need a couple more minutes. The rest of the eggs are done. Into the ice bath they go. And now they both carefully peel their egg, where someone said, Bayashi, rarely talking. Jimmy rarely stops talking. Perfect duo. And when he finished peeling his egg, he goes, I did it. I'm not useless. His eggs are peeled, and so now he's gonna season it with some Kewpie mayo. We're using the star tip, salt and pepper. And like a savage, they both put on gloves and mashes the eggs with their hands. It's kind of satisfying. I'm surprised there's only salt and pepper as a seasoning in here. I hope it tastes good. And now on some soft, delicious Japanese milk bread, they slather their egg salad on top of one slice, and then those 2 eggs that I saved earlier goes right on the corners. I'm gonna make sure I nestle it in. He places another slice of bread right on top, and they wrap it in some saran wrap. There's so much gap in here. I'm scared that pressing this down will make the egg just like ooze out. They definitely should have started with the saran wrap at the bottom. The sandwich is so wobbly. Someone said, sir, there is some bread in my eggs. And now he cuts the Sando right through the center of the eggs. Oh my goodness. The gorgeous yolk reveal. I'm not even sure how one bites into this, but here we go. I was skeptical of it just having salt and pepper. Jimmy looked so happy making the sandwich. Maybe he should become a food channel. Now this is a lunch league. 9 out of 10. But if you like this video, go watch me test 1-star YouTuber recipes.